Okay.
Yeah, I have started recording. Okay, so we are going to start the
Okay.
class about the SAP Material Management, which is
Okay.
one of the module in SAP. Okay, SAP Material Management, it mainly deals with the procurement of materials. By the name itself, you understand that it is everything is related to the material, right?
Yeah.
So in any
Yes.
of the enterprise or any of the manufacturing unit, material is the main thing which is used, right?
Mm.
So utilization of material has to be done properly. That is the reason there is more of the importance given for material management.
Yes.
Okay. Um, I have discussed about the topics which we'll be covering. At the same time, I
Yeah.
have shared the content with you also, right?
Mm.
So procurement cycle. So
Mm.
if you want to procure a material, there is one cycle involved for that, right? Uh, Say for example, you need some, or you you have come up
Yeah.
with some need for your house. Okay, maybe a TV or refrigerator. What is the or how are you going to procure that material from the shop? Can you please explain me the cycle? Are you
Yeah.
getting my question?
Yeah. Yeah. Once I will enter my shop, I will have a requirement list which I had to buy.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes, I'm able to
And
hear you.
I will go to particular place where the required things for me is kept in the shop. I
Okay.
will purchase that shop, take that shop material with me, and I will enter move towards the counter billing counter.
Okay.
Hello,
Yeah, I'm listening.
and cashier will collect the detail.
Okay.
Yeah, cashier will collect the things, and he will check with that database, and
Okay.
he will tell the MRP of that particular
Okay.
things, and we have to pay, and they will give the product to me, and they will pack in one particular bag, and with tag, and we'll let them know to go.
Okay. So you mean to say once you feel the need for some material, you will just walk into the shop, or will you search more than one shop for the same material?
Which is nearby me and which I know before the price and all.
Hmm.
On that base, I will do.
So you'll directly walk into that shop and purchase from that shop. Suppose if you
Yeah,
don't know where exactly you get, or you don't know, you have so many shops and you don't know which shop gives the best quality or with the best competitive price. In
and
that
the
case,
voice
what will
clarity
you
is not
do?
at all. Um, Voice clarity is not there. It's giving a lot of disturbance. Noise is coming.
Yeah, some vehicles move
I'm not
around.
able to hear proper.
Some vehicles move around, no? So that time there will be some disturbance. But
Always, ma'am.
no, night time it will be there. It will be for
Okay.
another 10 to 15 minutes. That's it.
Okay.
Okay. So if at all you feel that that particular
Hmm.
material is available in more than one shop, okay, and you don't know which shop provides the competitive price and which shop provides the quality product. So in that case, what will you do? Hello? Are you there, Ashwat? Ashwat?
I'll search in the net. I'll search. I will search in the net, ma'am.
Okay.
then I'll find required things for me in that particular area where the shop is located.
Okay.
And moreover, the price won't be disclosed from the particular exact price won't be disclosed in the net, like internet. They
Mm-hmm.
won't give. So
Okay.
while after going to the particular shop, only we had to convince or convey regarding that.
Okay. So the end result is you are going to search for the particular product where you get that satisfaction, right? It might be in terms of price or in as well as the quality, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So the same way, when it comes to the procurement of materials for the manufacturing industries or in an organization, so what happens is it is not a small place wherein there is only one person who will get to know that there is a need has arisen, and then he walks into some shop, purchase it, pay the bill, and get the material off, isn't it? They, in big manufacturing companies, huge amount of material has to be procured, right? And that procurement of material will be done based on the requirement. And how does the requirement arise?
Requirement is the demand for example with shop it won't be correct time, like how the demand requires. An example like food, we are buying the vegetables, we have to prepare the food for. So
Your
what
voice
are
is
the
very
things
low.
required for? Yeah, yeah, ma'am. I'm not able to clearly hear your voice also.
Okay.
Are you able to hear now?
Yes.
If it is regarding vegetables, what the dish we are going to prepare today, depend upon that we
No.
are going to buy the particular.
Yeah, that your requirement is fine. Now my question was, see, in an enterprise, it is not a small unit, right? It is a
Hello.
big unit. You are able to hear me, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So before
Ma'am,
having,
in middle, the voice clarity will be known to be there.
1 second. Okay, so in case of huge enterprises, what happens is the even the requirement of the materials will be in terms of huge quantity, right? So it doesn't make any sense that you just procure the material and keep it in your stock, isn't it? So there has to be some
Yeah.
requirement that arises which leads to the procurement of material, right?
Yeah.
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 So, how do you feel that there is a requirement for the material? What leads to that requirement? Any idea?
It's like if any customer has arise the requirement, the end user has arise some requirement to make something like in manufacture the product so that that customer can help from that. So to make the required product for the customer, some
Okay.
raw material is required for the company.
Yes.
So
Yes.
raw material will be in the vendor side. So the number of vendors they have a different quality raw material depend
Mm-hmm.
upon the requirement and manufacturing product. On that base, the technical team will decide which product has to be occupied
Yes.
to make it.
Exactly. So the requirement arises out of the order. That is, the sales team will be contacting the customers and getting the sales order, right? So based on the sales order, the requirement for materials arises. That is, based on the sales order, the production people will decide, or the production planning people will decide what are materials are required for in order to produce that particular material, isn't it? So based on that, they'll create a list or bill of materials which will
Yeah.
specify what all materials are required. Okay. So that will be done from the production planning people. And once you get the requirement, so the requirement can come through purchase requisition or production order. Okay. So there are different ways how you get the requirement. So once you
So
get the, sorry.
yeah, you tell me.
So once you have the requirement, that is converted into in the form of a purchase requisition, and purchase requisition will come for the procurement people, wherein they will decide from whom to procure or how to procure. That will be decided at the procurement end. Okay.
Okay.
So
Here in the
as you said earlier, that if you know one that this particular material is available at this particular vendor, so you will directly procure from that vendor, isn't it? If at all
yeah.
the you don't know this particular material who can supply me with a competitive price within the stipulated time, right? So what in that case what we do is we will determine the source of supply. Source of supply is nothing but the vendor. So in that case we'll find who all are the vendors in the market who can supply this particular material. Okay. And that will be done on the based on the quotations. Okay. So based on the quotation, we get response from the vendors. That is, all the vendors will submit their quotations, and based on the quotation we receive, we will do the vendor selection who can provide with the effective price. And within that,
How well?
sorry.
You tell me, man. I'll ask later on this base.
Okay. So once we select the vendor, then what we do is the purchase order will be in the process of purchasing. Okay, that is once you select the vendor, then you'll see how much quantity is required, what price is required, for which plant it is required. All the details will be has to be entered into the purchase order. Okay, and once the purchase order is created, that purchase order will be sent to the vendor in order for the vendor to process that particular purchase order. Okay. Once the purchase order reaches the vendor, then we keep monitoring the purchase order because we have specified the delivery date by when we need the material. Okay. So for that purpose, just to make sure that the vendor supplies the material within that delivery date itself. So you'll have to keep monitoring the purchase order. And once the vendor supplies the material, then we do the goods receipt of those materials. Okay. And once the goods are received, then
Okay.
we receive the invoice from the vendor and we do the verification whether the purchase order quantity and the delivered quantity does it matches or not, or is there any variance, and whatever the delivered quantities are there, whether that quantity is the same what he has invoiced for. Okay, with all that verification done, when once it is okay, only then we will do the final settlement. Okay, so this is how the procurement cycle in SAP works, or you can say the general procurement cycle in the material management.
Okay.
Do you
And
have any?
how those yeah, how they vendor will come to know like the company requires some material.
That is, we will request quotation from the vendors.
So that we are the people first going to approach the vendors, not
Yes.
like vendors will approach the company.
See, there might be a situation wherein the vendors might come into your company and they leave their database stating that we supply these all materials. Okay, that is one way you get to know about the vendors. Otherwise, what you'll do is you'll do market research and find who all vendors can supply that material within within your area. And then once we have all the vendors list ready with us, then we issue the request for quotation to them, asking for quotation that there is a need of this material, so can you please submit your quotation. And then the vendors will supply you the quotation, and once they submit the quotation, then you'll do the price comparison of all the vendors, and based on that you will finalize one vendor.
I want different type of selecting the vendor. How I can select? I am new to. I have established one company, one particular area, which is unknown to me because of
Okay.
the environmental condition. I have planted new plant in that place.
Okay.
Okay, and I don't know any new people, surrounding people around me now, right now.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I want a requirement of some material, electronics material or some metal material. So how I have to approach the people? Like
See,
example,
see that approaching part is different. Okay, how you are going to approach. But here we have the list of vendors. Okay. For example,
that
you
that will how to
listen.
make the list of vendors.
Yeah, that's what. See, there are some salesperson who keeps walking in and they leave their cards, right? So
Yeah,
from there you get one way of communicating with the vendor, isn't it? And
yes,
there is
ma'am.
one more way that you have a technology now. You Google for the list of vendors who are around or within that stipulated maybe in so many kilometers who all vendors are there. You can search in that way, right?
Yeah,
So
one Google and
from
one sales. Okay.
yes, okay. So you will try to get all the vendors within your limited area, or you can, even if you search for beyond your limited area also, then there might be some freight charges additional involved in it. Okay, so how
Yeah.
exactly that will work, that we'll see when we will be looking at that particular scenarios.
Okay.
Okay, but
Yeah.
otherwise, are you clear with the procurement cycle?
Yeah. You want me to explain?
uh, yeah, you can just brief me out.
First, I will determine the requirements. That means like what are the things has to be collected together to make or manufacture one particular material, so that it has to deliver to the customer. Then I'll
Okay.
list out the requirement material and I'll search for the material through salespeople or Google it out to find the vendors who can supply the material. And
Okay.
later on, once the number of vendors I have found it, I'll choose the best one of that. So
Okay.
depend like the cost of the material, quality of the material, and the service of that vendor. Once
Mm-hmm.
the vendor is selected, I'll request for quotation from number of people, and I'll select the one quotation out of that, and I'll give a purchasing order for them. So number of quantities and how many duration of time we are giving to get that material. Once the material is ready and came to our warehouse where the manufacturing plant is going to manufacture that material, the invoice from the vendor will be submitted to company, and invoice will be verified from the people in the company, and quotation, according to quotation the invoice, and according to quotation and invoice the verification is done. Later on
Not
the
not
payment will be
uh,
issued.
not the quotation based on the purchase order.
Okay. Purchase.
Okay.
Ma'am,
See, based on
when
the
we are the,
quotation itself, you'll be specifying that price in the purchase order. Okay.
okay,
So
okay,
now the
purchase order.
verification will be done across the purchase order, goods receipt, and the
verification
invoice.
will be done with purchasing order
That is
and
the
invoice.
comparison will be done between the purchase order, goods receipt, and invoice verification.
Invoice
Uh,
verification.
yeah, for example, you have ordered for 100 quantity. Okay. If the vendor
Okay.
has supplied the entire 100 quantity, and if he has invoiced for 100 quantity itself, then there is no any discrepancy. You can just go ahead and do the settlement for that invoice. Okay.
Okay.
Suppose if at all you have ordered 100 quantity and the vendor has delivered you only 50 quantity, he says that remaining 50 I'll send you after 2 days. So in that case, what you'll do is you'll just do the goods receipt for 50. Okay. But
Okay.
along with this, if he submits the invoice for 100, then there is a discrepancy,
Okay.
right? That is, you had requested for 100, though you have requested for 100, but the delivery has been done for only 50 quantity. So receiving
Yeah.
50, how can you do settlement for 100? You can't do that,
Yeah.
right? So that is why
Yes.
invoice verification is required. That is, you need to see how much we have got ordered and how much we have received, and for whatever we have received, has he invoiced only for that or not? So all these things has to be checked.
And I want to know the difference between invoice receipt and goods receipt.
Invoice receipt is something like once you get the invoice, you just enter that into our system. Okay, goods receipt
Okay.
is something where the vendor delivers the goods and you need to take those goods or accept those goods. That is the process of goods receipt.
Invoice receipt where we are entering to the system.
That is done for
And
the purpose of settlement. That we will see later on. But just understand as of now that goods receipt means whatever the materials are delivered, that we need to get it into our store, as well as we need to enter in our uh, this application as well, right? So for that
yeah.
purpose, that goods receipt, it will be entered into the SAP software, as well as physically the goods will be taken into our store location.
Okay.
Okay. Whereas in case of invoice receipt, there is no any physical goods present there. It is just the invoice. For example, yeah, sometimes in the real scenarios, what happens is it is not always you get the invoice along with the material. Okay.
Okay.
Invoice might be sent earlier itself, or invoice can be sent even after the goods are delivered. Goods can be just delivered with the help of delivery challan also.
Okay.
Okay, so there are different way of goods delivery. But normally what happens when you go for the household purchasing, that time what happens is along with your goods you get the invoice also, isn't it? And before
Yeah.
settling the payment, what you do, what you might have negotiated for some amount, isn't it? Yeah, there will be
Yes.
some MRP, but you might have again negotiated for that for certain amount. So what you'll do when you are doing the invoice payment for that goods, you check whether he has entered whatever price you have negotiated or not, or has he maintained the same MRP in the bill invoice. All that you will check, right?
Yeah.
So same way, the same type of verification will be done.
Hmm.
Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Shall I move to the next slide?
Yes, ma'am.
So we have discussed about the different scenarios of procurement. One is the stock transfer with the stock transport order. So stock transport order is actually used when that material is being supplied by one more plant of the same organization.
Hmm.
Okay, in that case, we'll be using the stock transport order, and actually the receiving plant will be creating a stock transport order to the supplying plant, and the stock transport order is received by the supplying plant, and it will process that order and delivers the ordered material to the requesting plant. So once the
Okay.
goods are delivered from the supplying plant, that particular
Hmm.
stock of goods are maintained under stock in transit status.
Hmm.
Okay, and from that transit status, then once it reaches the receiving plant or the requested plant, then they will be stored in their store location. And since it is the internal movement, that is, it is done within the same organization, so there is no invoice generated for that.
Okay.
Okay, so this is about the stock transport order, and we'll be dealing or we'll be learning in detail about this later when we'll be doing the inventory management.
Ma'am, one question is there. You
Yeah,
are telling there is no invoice
yes,
from this plant to and location 2 to location 1.
yes.
So there will be no invoice. Then how they will come to know? You before slide you told me like with invoice only we are verifying the purchasing order and goods receipt and verification. That invoice verification is depend upon the three receipts. Here,
Yes.
if there is no invoice, then how they will come to know?
See, for example, in a house, you are two brothers. Okay.
Okay.
If at all you are getting it from outside, then you will ask for the bill. If your other brother is asking something from you, will you have a bill for that?
Hmm. No, but I have to count what are the stocks remaining in my warehouse. Na?
Yeah, that
I have particular.
system. See, once you are supplying from one plant to other, so automatically once you deliver, the stock in plant location 2 will get reduced, and once you receive the material, stock in location 1 will get increased.
Like internally they will do it.
Yes, internally there will be some accounting happening that we'll discuss later on, but there won't be any
Oh,
invoice for that.
okay. Stock transfer order where the material is transferred within the company or within the
Yes,
plant or within the warehouse. So there will be
not
no invoice.
not within the warehouse. It will be between the store locations or between the plants.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is about the stock transport order. Next, there is one more special type of procurement which we call it as the subcontracting. Okay, here in order to reduce the manufacturing or in order to reduce the manpower in the same one company itself, what they do is they will outsource a part of work to some third party vendor. Okay, so what the third party vendor will do is he will manufacture that
Hmm.
outsourced product and return back to the requesting company.
Okay.
Are you following it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here in this process, what happens is the company who wants to outsource that production of the subcomponents, what it will do
Hmm.
is it will create a subcontracting purchase order, and that subcontracting purchase order is given to the subcontractor along with the materials, the raw materials which are required to produce that requested material. Okay, as I
Hmm.
had explained you in the in day before yesterday's demo, that if at all you have a subcontracting purchase order of some screws or nuts or bolts. Okay, or you can say you have a subcontractor who produces or who packs the juice. Okay, for example, it might be some juice FMCG product, and the subcontractor is a person who is liable to do the packaging of that. So what we will do is we will send the juice to the subcontractor along with the silver sheets or card sheets, everything. So what the subcontractor will do is he will prepare a packet out of the silver sheet and the card sheet what you have provided, and fills in the juice into that and seals it. Okay, now you had just sent the juice along with the sheet of papers, right? Now the subcontractor has converted them into the juice bottles or juice tetra packs. Then those tetra packs are given back to the requesting company. Okay. So once you receive that tetra packs, they will be stored into the store location, and you will be charged with the service charge of that packaging. Okay. So the invoice what you receive from the subcontractor is the invoice of that service which he has rendered in order to convert that material into tetra pack.
So only they will get the charges of service only.
Yeah, because all that components you are only giving. For say, for example, you are only giving the juice, you are only giving the silver sheets, you are only giving the card sheets. Only thing is he has to convert that card sheet and silver sheet into a tetra pack, fill that tetra pack with juice, and seal and send it. That's it. So there is no any manufacturing involved in that, right? It is only the service.
The subcontracting is only meant for service.
Yeah, service in the sense, for example, say, I'll give you one more example. If you want nuts, screws or bolts or some visors, right? So for that, the company will provide the raw material. For example, for these automobile spares, you need iron, right? Iron rods or iron sheet. So what the company will do is it will supply the iron sheet, and the subcontractor what he will do is he might use some machinery and convert them into the respective subcomponent. Okay, but then there is only service involved for that. That will be considered as a service. Sir, and then we pay only for that cost involved in order to produce or in order to convert that steel sheet into the spare parts. Understood?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And then we do the invoice verification and settle that invoice. So this is how.
And about this,
Okay.
This topic, subcontracting, we will be dealing with next future classes. Like while
Yes, we will be working.
Also practical also.
Yes, of course. Whatever I'm
because I had a many question like.
See, whatever we are dealing here, it is just the overview. It is not the final completion of the topic. Okay. So we have further topics wherein we will be doing or will be completely dealing with that particular concept itself. We will implement, we will practice and see how it works.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next, one more special type of cycle is the vendor consignment. And in case of vendor consignment, it is, I had given you example of electronic shop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that? So here actually the vendor will come and store the material in our store location, but he won't ask for the payment until
He won't
we
ask for the
use.
until we use the material.
Yes, exactly. So unless and until
Yes.
we don't use that material, we won't be liable to pay for that particular material.
Yeah. Example is tea. Electronic
Yes.
gadgets which are displayed in the mall or shopping mall,
Yeah.
they are not ready to take consignment.
Yes. So here the
And this
material.
method is very good design for
Sorry.
this consignment method is very good, na? Like
Yeah, but you'll have
there
to
is
keep
no,
the store for that, right? So even though you are not using it immediately, but still you'll have to store in your location until you get the requirement for that. So even for in that also a cost will be involved. But the only thing is you are not paying it immediately. That is one advantage. That's it. And not all the
uh,
vendors will be ready to do that.
yes,
Okay. So once you withdraw that consignment stock for the usage, only then you'll be liable for that, and then we will, in order to do the settlement of that material, we may use the credit memo for that.
yeah,
Okay, so this is about the
credit.
vendor consignment.
Okay.
So next we have the enterprise structure. So under the
Client, company code, client, storage.
Yeah, under the enterprise structure, it is we can call it also as organization structure. That is the topmost uh, unit will be called as the company, or you can
Hmm.
say client. And the next level is the company code. Under one client, you can have more than one company code, and under each company code you can have more than one plant, and under each
Hmm.
plant you can have further more than one store location. And here we have the purchasing organization and purchasing group, which will be responsible for or communicating with the vendors, negotiating, and the person in the purchasing group will act as a contact person for the vendors. So all that we'll discuss later on when we'll be dealing with each individual topic.
Ma'am, one question.
Yes.
Tata is a company. Okay, you are telling that number of product, so number of company codes are there, and they have their own balance sheet. Okay,
Yes.
if two company, I'm telling I have two company. One not with Tata. Let's go with one example. One yeah, I have a one working shop that related to household materials. Okay,
Okay.
I have a company that is my name is client. Okay, in that company codes are in related to one is related to education field and one is related to marketing field like material, the steel,
Okay.
sand, everything.
Okay.
In that okay, in education field there are not two, there are more than 20 plants are there. Like example, high school, school, nursery, everything.
Yes.
It comes under plants now. And in like that way, in another shop, the I told no, the
Hmm.
material, building material, that also
Okay.
have different plants now. So it is not like only two is divided or number of things we can do it, no?
Yeah, that is what I am not telling that only two. I'm telling you more than one company code.
More than one. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So I'm not limiting only for two.
Hmm.
Client will be one. For example, if Ashwath Enterprises is one organization, then Ashwath Enterprises will be the same. Under Ashwath Enterprises, you can have Ashwath Education Society. Under the same Ashwath Enterprises, you can have Ashwath Industries, Ashwath Food Packaging. Okay, you can have n number of company codes. Hello,
Okay.
are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Some voice disturbance was, yeah, voice disturbance was there.
Okay, so that is how you'll be having the company codes, plant and store locations. It is not limited for one or two. Okay, understood?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is one example of the structure.
Please ask me questions.
Sorry?
Okay.
So this is an example of
Please
our...
ask me questions.
Yeah, sure,
One
sure,
particular
sure.
topic is over.
Okay.
Okay.
That I'll do once we start with the practicals, no? Once we start with the system,
Okay.
then you'll keep getting questions.
Okay.
So now we have a client company code. So in this case, we have two company codes. One is 0001 and one is 0002. Under 0001, we have plant 1000 and plant 1100. And under company code 002, we have plant 2000. Okay. And under respective plant, we have storage locations also. If you observe here, the storage location under plant 1000 is also named with 0001. At the same time, the store location which is under plant 1100 also has the name 0001, right? So though the names are different, but though the names are same, but the plants are different. So you can use the same names, but under the different plant.
And we can't do same name for different plants?
No, you can't. For each plant,
Only
you should have a unique code, but in case of store locations, you can use the same names, but under different plant or company code.
How one person will come to know, ma'am, if A is for everything?
No, that I'll show you when we are creating our organization structure.
Okay. And another thing, for single plant, there can't be same name, same storage location names.
No, for the same plant, you can't have the same name twice.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So here we have the organization level and the same which is again distributed. For example, in this case, we have the purchase organization involved here. Purchase organization is one entity who is responsible for the purchasing of materials or negotiating of the price of the materials, and who will be responsible to have or create contract between the vendors. Okay, so this is one unit who will be responsible for such type of work.
Okay.
Okay. So now before we start with that, I will... Okay, this is one organization structure which I have defined, okay, or I have created. That is, I have the company code, company, then the company code, and under each company code I have created plant. Hello, Ashwat.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'm hearing.
You are able to hear me, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Because
Yes, ma'am.
after 40 minutes of the thing, this will get disconnected. We'll have to get connected once again. That's why.
Okay.
Okay. So we have the company. Under company, we have the company code, plant, store location, and I also have the purchase organization and the purchase group.
Mhm.
So I have given the naming convention CCO, CC11 for
Mhm.
company code, CCP1
Mhm.
for plant, and
Mhm.
CSL1 for store location. So what I
Okay.
want you is, I want you to
Mhm.
create one structure of this type.
Okay.
Okay, that will be your structure which you are going to use it throughout your entire training.
Entry training. Okay.
Yes. So
Mhm.
come up with one structure of this type, and then you also
Mhm.
come up with, I mean, structure in the sense I'm not asking you to create in SAP, but I want this blueprint to be created so that you need not be like scratching your head while creating the enterprise structure, that what name to give for the company, what name to give for company code. And if you
Okay. It
have
should
this
be easy.
and if you have this thing ready, then this
Mhm.
will stay as reference for you, so that whenever you are using doing further purchasing documents or goods receipt, in all the cases you'll be using the company code, the plant, everything. So this has to be kept as a reference somewhere.
Okay.
Okay. So now what I'll do is I will show you how to create the company.
Okay. 0x 1.
One
Okay.
second. So I will connect with the SAP server now. Once I double click on this ECC, I get this login screen. Okay, I'll use my
Mhm.
login. So this is how the screen looks like. Have you used SAP
Okay.
earlier?
No, no. Just I saw in my brother laptop only.
Okay. So this is how you get the screen. And from here you need to enter SPRO, and then
SPRO. Excuse
yes,
me. Processing.
uh, I don't remember the long form. SPRO, and from there you have the implementation guide. Click on this implementation guide,
I'm
and
not able to see, ma'am. Just. Are you moving the cursor?
yes,
No, I'm not able to see that. Just on SAP login 740. That only I'm able to see, ma'am.
one second,
At the corner of rightmost top,
one second.
ECC is written.
So are you able to see this screen?
Yeah, now I'm able to see on some login screen.
Okay. From here, once you log in, then you get one more screen. So now you are able to see one more screen, right? Login
Yeah,
screen.
yeah, login screen.
Okay. So here, so this is your SAP screen. Okay. Then
SAP Siemens, ma'am. What
yes,
is that Siemens?
so this particular it is provided by Siemens.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is a place where you enter the transaction codes.
Code.
Okay. Now,
Okay.
in order to create the enterprise structure, we use
Hmm.
SPRO. Yeah, I don't.
SPRO, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the long form
SAP
of that.
processing request. Something is there.
Yeah, you can just check it. I never had the need for that. Okay. So you type SPRO and press enter.
Hmm.
And then click on SAP reference, that is IMG implementation guide.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you have here enterprise structure. You can see enterprise structure here.
Enterprise structure defining
And under enterprise
definition.
structure, we have definition and assignment. So these are the two fields which we'll be using. Okay. First of all, we'll use definition. And under definition, we have financial accounting.
Financial accounting.
Okay. And under financial accounting, we have define company.
Fine.
So once you click on define company, then you get this screen. In this screen,
New entity.
you press on new entry.
New entry.
Okay. So here I
Hmm.
want my company to be with the name CCO. Okay.
Oh. Hmm. Training. Okay.
Okay, then I can give a random address.
MG. Oh. It is necessary that I have to fill all the blocks.
Not all the blocks. And here you have country. You can just click on the drop down. You will get the list of all countries. For India, it is IN. So for India, it is IN. Okay.
Hmm.
Select the country and click OK. Or you can also type it manually. Okay. And language key, it will be EN. EN is for English.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Then currency for India, it is Indian rupee.
INR.
We use INR. You'll find in the drop down the different currencies used. So you can just go through what all currencies are there. But I'll be using Indian rupee.
Hmm.
Okay. So once we are created with this, then I'll click on
Save.
save. So now the company has been created.
How I come to know company is created? Have to check.
It will be created. If you want to check, then there is how to check that. I'll tell you in the next class.
Hmm.
Okay, because even if you check now, only this particular company will be there. But once we create up to store location, then I will show you how we can see the organization structure.
But also, ma'am,
But
I
also,
want to see
yeah, I'll show you. Next, I will create the company code.
company code.
Yes. See, if you in this under the same enterprise structure, definition, financial
Definition, financial
accounting,
account,
you
edit,
have
delete,
one
copy.
more called as edit, copy, delete, check company code,
Hmm.
right? So click on that and then you click on the copy, delete, check company code.
Hmm.
Okay. So now once you get this screen that is organizational object company code, then you need to
Hmm.
click on copy organization object. See,
Hmm.
you have two pages parallelly, right? So you need
Hmm.
to click on this particular icon, which will give
Hmm.
you copy organization object. So click on that.
Hmm.
And then here it will ask for from company code to company code. Okay, so here what I'll do is we'll give
Hmm.
1000 as the company code, that is in place of from company code I'll give 1000, and
Hmm.
to company code is CC1
What is
11.
that? Form and two is.
See, I'm using copy object, right? Here,
Yeah.
when we use copy object, whenever
Hmm.
any uh, company or organization it goes for
Hmm.
SAP provides the software with the standard uh, company plant everything. Okay, and this
Okay.
standard company code is nothing but 1000, for example. This will be having all the data which is required in order to handle or manage one company.
Okay.
Okay, so if at all you have to create a company code manually, then there will be
Hmm.
hundreds of tables. You'll have to create them manually and get them linked to that company code. Okay, so
Okay.
to avoid that, what we do is to get everything, whatever has to be there for a standard company code. So we copy everything from this standard company code 1000,
Hmm.
and we specify that it should be
Hmm.
copied to CC11.
Means that structure we want to connect to that CC11. Na?
See, for example, uh,
Hmm.
when you go for to purchase a mobile,
Hmm.
okay, what they will do is they'll connect your newly purchased mobile and they install all the app which are required for that mobile, right?
Yeah.
They do so, right? The same
Yeah.
way, now I'm
Hmm.
creating one company code, but I
Hmm.
want everything to be copied to this company code, whatever is required. I want
Hmm.
everything ready made to be copied to this company code. Okay,
Okay.
so there are different tables. For example, each company code, it will be having its
Yeah,
own
the set of
accounting
operation
tables.
data.
Uh, yes, exactly. So all that tables data should get copied to my new company code as well. That is why we use the option of copying. Okay.
Okay.
So next, say click on OK. You just keep clicking yes, yes. And here we need to give the currency.
INR.
Just say OK.
Okay.
Then click on yes. You see here 10%, 27, 34, 35% of tables copied, right?
Mm.
You can see
Yeah.
that clock turning in the status bar.
Yeah.
So this is how all the tables which are present for 1000, they are getting copied to our CC11.
Okay. For if I join any one company,
Mm-hmm.
okay, they already have, they might have created these all things.
Yes, see, in general, it is not the job of people to create this. Okay, this company and company code, it will be created from the FI people.
FI people. Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
So now I'll again click yes.
That is error. Hmm.
No, once copying of certain things are done, it will be giving that completion message. So just the message is repeating. You should not say cancel. Okay. Otherwise, if you say can no or cancel in between, then it won't get copied completely.
Mm-hmm. So that
Okay.
I have to know, no, it is copied or it is
Yeah,
created
that
or not. How
I'll
to
tell
know?
you.
Hmm.
So once or twice you click OK, and then you can
Hmm.
just close it, and then click on copy. I'm pressing on enter key. Okay.
Okay.
So usually, if it is a standalone system, then you won't get so many number of messages. But here the users keep doing some changes, right? So that is why
Yeah.
you keep getting so many messages repeatedly.
Okay.
But when you are creating, don't cancel it, okay?
Okay. It won't create multiple time, no? It is like
No, 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 it will be only once.
okay. Why it is giving error? Like same displaying same.
Yeah, it keeps displaying the same thing, but it will come around 20 to 30 times. Only then it will get copied. Otherwise, if it is like you have server, see, company code range 1000 copied to CC1 without one number range object. Say continue. Okay. Here you get that company code 1000 has been copied to CC11.
Okay.
Okay. So once you get this message, go back. If you want to change the name of that company, then you can say edit company code data and search for your company code CC11.
One.
Okay. So by default, it will take the name which is present in that 1000 company code.
Okay.
Because you have copied everything from 1000, isn't it? So even the name of the company also comes whatever is mentioned in 1000.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'll do is select this and change.
CC1. What is the top? For every change we have to click on that.
No, you need to select and then click on details. Okay. And then you can say, so in this way we can do the changes to that name, but somehow it is not allowing. So for us, this is not mandatory. Okay, we'll keep it as it is because it is the work of FI people. So let's not get bothered with this. You just need to create one company code for your enterprise structure. Okay.
Okay.
So now once you have defined the company code, then what we do is we go to assignment. Okay, go to assignment, financial accounting, and then see under enterprise structure, we had definition earlier, right? The same way below definition, below definition we have assignment. Under assignment you have financial accounting, and under financial accounting you have assigned company code to company. Okay, click on that.
Okay.
So now you search for your company code, that is CC11.
CC11.
Okay. And what is your company name?
CCO.
CCO, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Press enter and save.
Save. Okay.
So if you get the company code, what you have created in this table, then it means that your company has been created. Understood? You are asking for the company whether it has been created or not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So once the company has been created, only then it will get listed in this list. Okay, so this is how we create the company and company code. So any doubts so far?
No.
So this is how we create the company and then create a company code and assign the company code to your company.
Okay.
Okay, so tomorrow we'll continue with the further enterprise structure. In the meanwhile, you can create your own enterprise structure and keep it ready.
Okay.
Okay.
And you told they will help me to log in it.
Yeah, 1 second. I'll help you with that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Read.